Hey everyone, welcome to this lecture. Uh, in this lecture, we are going to discuss regarding the uh, about network firewalls and the various types of network firewalls that we use in the industries. So let's talk about what is a network firewall and what are the different types of network firewall we have. So when we talk about network firewalls and its various types. So first of all, what is a network firewall, right? So if I take any vendor, which could be Palo Alto, which could be Cisco or Fortinet, any vendor, Checkpoint, right? Of and I label this as a firewall. So this firewall main job, so a network firewall's main job is defined as a security system, right? So this firewall is defined as a security system that will monitor and control your incoming and outgoing network traffic, which is based on certain configured or predetermined security rules, right? So that means any traffic which is either arriving, we call that as ingress or inbound to the firewall, or trying to leave through the firewall, we call this as outgoing, outbound, or as a egress traffic. So it could be an ingress traffic or inbound traffic, or this network traffic which is traversing through the firewall can be called as egress traffic or as outbound traffic. The job of this network firewall will be to monitor and control the incoming and this outgoing network traffic based on configured match this traffic parameters based on configured security rules, also known as security policies, right? And then it will act as a barrier between the trusted internal network. Let's say this side is a trusted internal network, and this side, let us say this is an untrusted, or we can say external network. So the firewall is going to act as a barrier between this trusted internal network and this untrusted external network, and it could be the untrusted could be internet, like internet. Okay, so the job of this network firewall is to prevent any sort of cyber threats, any sort of unauthorized access and data breaches, right? So we can say preventing cyber threats, preventing any sort of unauthorized access, and preventing data breaches. Okay, now there could be different types of network firewall. Okay, so irrespective of the vendor, we can talk about the different types of firewalls. Now one of the type is called as packet filtering firewall. Packet filtering firewall. Now the job of the packet filtering firewall is to work at layer 3, right? It works completely at layer 3 of your OSI model. So I can say it works at layer 3 of OSI model. So it will inspect the incoming and the outgoing IP based packets based on IP address, based on layer 4 port numbers and protocols, right? So I can say inspect incoming or outgoing packets based on IP addresses, based on layer 4 port numbers and layer 3 protocols. The advantage what you get using a packet filtering firewall is it's very fast in terms of processing the packets, analyzing it, and then taking a decision whether this traffic has to be allowed or traffic has to be blocked. So it is fast in operation, it is very simple to configure, and it is very efficient for basic security, right? Simple to manage and configure, and I can say it is efficient for applying any basic security policies, right? Disadvantage could be, think like it has got limited inspection capabilities. That means it cannot analyze any packet contents, right? So I can say limited inspection abilities, and it cannot analyze or I can say analyze deep packet inspection, right? So for example, it could be, you can think like configuring an ACL in routers, access control list in routers. It is very similar to that, right? Second example that you can take in terms of types of firewall, the number 2 would be your stateful firewalls. We can also say stateful inspection firewalls. So where it works at layer 3 and layer 4 of OSI model. I can say L3 and L4 OSI model. It works in that layer. It will track the state of any active connections and makes the decision based on the context of the traffic, right? So you can say it will track the state of active connections and works based on context of the network traffic. Okay. Advantage could be, it is I can say it's more secure than packet filtering firewalls, as it is going to monitor the active connection which is passing through the firewall. And disadvantage could be, definitely it will have higher processing load, which may impact performance, right? Example could be, let us say, a Cisco ASA firewall. Okay. Number 3 would be your proxy firewall. Proxy firewall, it is also called as an application firewall. Now it operates at layer 7 of OSI model. It operates at layer 7 of OSI model, and it will intercept and analyze the traffic before forwarding it to its destination, right? So it will intercept and analyze traffic at layer 7. That means it will do the packet inspection. Okay. So advantage, as I've told you, it will provide deep packet inspection, it will hide your internal network details, and it will prevent any direct connection between the originator and the destination, because it will act as a proxy device. Disadvantage could be it can introduce a lot of latency because it requires more processing power. Examples could be, let us say a squid proxy firewall or a blue coat proxy security gateway, etc. Right. The third and the most prevalent terms in today's world, it is your the third and the most prevalent terms in today's world is, let us say, I just write it here, is your next gen firewall. We call this as next generation firewall, also called as with the term as NGFW. Okay. So NGFW, as the name says, it will combine the traditional firewall features with additional security features like intrusion prevention, deep packet inspection, and application awareness. So it will have all the L3 capability features, all the L3 features which your, let us say, packet filtering firewall is providing. Plus it will also include the features of intrusion prevention system, intrusion detection system, right, and it will do deep packet inspection of any packets, and also it will have application awareness, which is very important. So it will understand, you know, that it is the network traffic is destined to which application type. It works at multiple layers of OSI model. So in any next gen firewall, you know, it will work at multiple layers of OSI model. So you can say layer 3 to layer 7 operation is possible. That means it can do deep packet inspection, it can analyze traffic based on IP addresses, port numbers, protocols, etc. Right. So advantages are very much there. So advantages could be, you know, it can give you advanced threat prevention, improved security policy based configuration, and of course it will give you better network, you know, visibility, right. Whereas disadvantage could be it is expensive. Definitely, to get a, you know, beautiful thing comes with a good cost. So it is expensive, and it will definitely require high compute resources, and requires, you know, high compute resources. Good. So similarly, you have another type which is called as a cloud based firewall. I write it here. So number 5 is your cloud based firewall. So a cloud based firewall, it is also called sometimes with the term as FW AAS, which is firewall as a service. So a firewall, if it is hosted in a cloud, you know, providing any scalable and flexible security for remote users and cloud infrastructure, can be determined or can be called as a cloud firewall. Advantages could be, you know, no need to deploy any on-prem hardware. So no need to deploy on-prem, you know, hardware, on-prem hardware, and it is easy to update, and it is very much scalable in terms of its resources sizing. So today you need a particular particular firewall based on certain compute limitations, and tomorrow if you want to increase those compute parameters, you can do that. For example, if you want to increase the RAM, the CPU cores, the hard drive capacity, you can increase that. It is very much scalable. Of course, disadvantage could be definitely it requires internet connectivity and may introduce latency as well. So examples could be Cloudflare, AWS network firewall, Azure network firewall, Zscaler. So those, you know, are called as cloud based firewalls, right. Next firewall type, I write it here, which is number 6, can be called as a web application firewall, which is very common in today's world. Web application firewall, which is also called as WAF. Okay, so it is specifically designed to protect web applications from attacks, like, you know, it is designed to protect your web applications from various types of attacks, right, from attacks like SQL injection attacks, cross-site scripting attacks, we call that as XSS, and, you know, distributed denial of service attacks. So these firewalls, they normally operate at, you know, layer 7 of OSI model, and that is the reason it can detect that application layer, and it can prevent any types of attacks which is based on SQL injections or cross-site scripting, DOS, DDoS, etc. Advantage, as I've told you, it will protect your websites from any cyber threat. So if you have a WAF in your as an edge device, as an edge firewall, and behind this WAF you're placing your company's server, so definitely WAF will protect your company's server. If any user is trying to access your company's server data, so the WAF will be a barrier to that. It will provide the protection to the websites from any cyber threats. Disadvantage could be it will only protect your web application and not the entire network, because it works only at layer 7. Examples could be AWS WAF, Cloudflare WAF, Imperva WAF, etc., etc., right? So choosing the right firewall is important. So make sure that the best firewall that you want to choose depends on network size, that you want to protect, security requirements based on your organization, and of course budget. So if you are having a small business, so for small business, packet filtering or stateful firewalls are fine. So for SMB, that is small medium businesses, packet filtering firewalls, or you can say stateful firewalls are capable enough to do the job. If you have enterprise, like any organization, think like any company, bank, or any healthcare company, healthcare organization, or any IT company, so they would need an enterprise category firewall. So where you should deploy the next gen firewall, or definitely cloud based firewalls, which will give you much more security protection as compared to, or should have much more security features as compared to packet filtering or stateful firewalls, right? And and also you can think of deploying WAF in certain environments if it is required. Okay, so I hope it is clear so far, right? The different types of firewalls that we have, and what is a firewall, by the way, and what it normally looks for, and it needs the administrator to go and manage its configuration, manage its interfaces, manage its policies, its licenses, right, its deployment. So there are a lot of things it is dependent on the administrators, right? So I believe it is fine for all of you to understand this. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next lecture.